G'day guys, welcome back to Beers and Breakevens off the back of Magic Round, a cracking weekend of footy. And if you were there, I'm sure you had a great time. If not, I'm sure you would have seen Bloke in a Bar all over your TV screens. It was insane. My co-host, Timmy, welcome back, mate. What's doing?
Not special guest this week, mate.
I think I'll make you part of the furniture here. You're starting to improve, so we're getting there.
Mate, how good was it Magic Round? There was all that rain predicted. I was a little bit worried about point scoring and, scoring in games being down. It wasn't. Still plenty of points. Not a lot of SuperCoach points, though. I think the average was probably a bit below 1,000 for the weekend. So a bit of a weird weekend in that sense, but made a ripper nonetheless.
Mate, I just said to Matty before, I said, what'd you score this week? And he told me he was really disappointed. And I sort of thought, fuck, I only scored 50 more. So a bit of a grim week all round. Not a heap of movement there. Mate, let's get into our ranked scores for the weekend. I scored 1,004. Pretty disappointing, but turns out everyone was pretty disappointing. I went down 69 spots, dinner for two there, rank 486, still in the top 500. So thankfully hanging in there. Yourself?
Yeah, made a very minor bit of ground on you, mate. 10.28 points to me into slight green arrows, 17.07 overall. So it was one of them weeks where there wasn't a lot of movement across the board because the scoring was that low. There's a lot of scores between sort of 900 and 1,100, so I don't think anyone sort of moved too far up or down this week.
Mate, I was having a look at my season so far. At the end of week one, I was sitting at 90,000. That's the first time I've got a red arrow since then.
Jeez.
I normally am in bed with red arrows by this point of the year, so stoked with how that's going. Matty the Waterboy is getting himself prepped for the next show. He scored 956 and rank 34,000, so he's making ground very quickly. Matty the Waterboy, yeah, watch out. Mate, should we dive into the team list for this week? Big talking points. Thursday night, we've got the Knights taking on the Broncos, and a familiar face named at 6. I got a little tingle when I saw Anthony Milford named.
Mate, how's the excitement of, not that he's done anything for a few years now, but just the thought of Milf, all he's been doing, this is based on nothing. I just say he's been ripping and tearing in his extended off-season, and he comes back fit and nimble, busting tackles, back in like the Raiders 19-year-old MILF days, linking with Kalen Ponga, the new era of the Knights. Here we go.
I was listening to the playbook last night, and one of your boys said that you'll know if Milford's on when he runs onto the field, even before the ball's kicked, and I thought, I will too.
Yeah,
I'll know when he runs from the tunnel to his spot, whether he's on or not. Mitch Barnett named in the 13 jersey. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Barnett and David Clemmer. They've got Gagai and Clifford on the extended. Obviously, Gagai, if he's fit, he will come straight into this side. Jakey Clifford, do you think we'll see him?
Mate, I think they'll have a crack at Clune and Milford. Why not? I think their playing styles complement each other. There's no reason why, all going to plan. Clune steers him around the park. Milf is that bit of X factor. Hopefully he focuses on ball running rather than getting around the park. And, they'll give it a few games, see how that goes. If it doesn't work, Clifford will come in for Clune, or Milf if he's going no good, and they'll chop and change. But with a bit of luck, they don't have to early on.
And the big news out of Brisbane, I wasn't expecting Tamari Martin to be named. He has been named. I'm hearing there's a good chance that he will not play, though, which would see Selwyn Cobbo jump into the fullback role, Jordan Pierre coming onto the wing. So that could be very exciting. We move to Friday, 6 p.m. Not much doing with the Tigers, SuperCoach-wise, but the Dogs. Tapine comes in the second row. We spoke about him on Bloke in a Bar a few weeks ago. I had a lot of people message me about him. I think he turned into a bit of a trap last year. But even if you do like him, the fact that RFM's sitting on the extended, I think they just bow each other out, don't they?
I think so. There was big raps on Topine. Well, there is big raps on Topine, should I say, and came in, got a few starts last season, and it's hard to start it whether you're a seasoned veteran or a rookie in a side like what the Dogs sort of threw up last year. So it'd be interesting to see what he can deliver. 280k SuperCoach-wise, plays round 13, that early buy round coverage. So the fact that he hasn't played yet, there'll be no price movement between now and round 13 for him. So one that we can monitor in the next few weeks. And the other one is, for Tyler Marino, if he can come back with a bit of a bang, who knows? I
was having a look at his New South Wales Cup stats the last few weeks where he's played back row for 80 minutes. He's looking at scores between 35 and 40 pretty consistently, so to Pine. So, yeah, that one is what it is. The late game, Eels taking on the Manly Seagulls. Parramatta, big news here. Ryan Madison in the 13. He's been absolutely braining it coming off the bench. Yes, he scored a try the last 2 weeks, but his base stats have been off the dome. We're talking 56, 58. We've also got Sevo and Russell on the bench. We'll talk about Matto a little bit later when we get to our questions. And for Manly, no shock. Burbo out, so another blank spot on the old extended bench. And Joshy Schuster named on the extended, one to keep an eye on over the next few weeks. He might come in to start, but I thought he looked a little bit underdone, as he should, a couple of weeks ago. So you expecting him to come off the pine still?
I'm really not sure, mate. They may as well take a conservative approach with him. I know they're coming off a tough loss and they'll be a little bit worried about ladder position going into the origin period where they'll lose some key players, but they've got to be thinking long game with both he and Tommy Turbo and just going, particularly coming off hammy injuries. Schuster's off a hammy injury. He went down with, it might have been a different injury the last couple of weeks. Play him cautiously. If it means playing him 30 or 40 off the bench, just do that for a week or two and get him back to that 80-minute role because we've seen how important he is to that team.
I think realistically this week, even if he does start, he ain't playing 80.
No.
He'll play 30 to 50 regardless. We'll have to assume so anyway. Mate, let's move to the Saturday games. The Dragons taking on the Warriors. Dragons, not a heap doing there that's SuperCoach relevant. Heap of fucking brain explosions as per usual though. But for the Warriors, Ewan Aitken, he returns, and Chanel Harris-Tavita on the extended bench. I've heard a few people throwing around Dijon Arcee, but if CHT is there, you have to be a little bit worried about that one. Yeah,
it just depends what they want to do with Arcee, and we spoke a bit about it on the Bloke in the Bar podcast the other day, but CHT's a really strong defender, and I think he's the strongest defending half in the club. So as decent as Arcee's looked in his couple of games so far, negative 19 break even, 310k, dual position, CT dub 5'8", which is huge. It's an awkward one because you don't want to go early on him, then have a bloke playing off the bench or in the extended squad. Basically you'd be buying him as that early buy round coverage, and then CHT comes back in. So, there's temptation there. There's also an option that Arcee moves to centre at some point if CHT does come back in, but there's just a lot of question marks and one to avoid.
I think with Jesse Arthurs on the extended too, it worries me whether he's going to get that centre spot. Let's move to the 5:30 game. Cowboys taking on the Melbourne Storm. This one could be game of the week. Drinkwater obviously came off early last week. He has been named in the one for those that have him and look like me. Jerome Hughes named in the 7 jersey. Brandon Smith into the front row. I've had a few messages about Brandon Smith. I don't know. He's just not doing it for me this year. I don't know what it is, but I'm not really looking at him.
Oh, definitely not this week, mate. I think he will be a really good buy over the Origin period. With Harry Grant playing Origin in anywhere in sort of a 60 to 80 minute role, he'll slot in and I can see Grant getting rest over that Origin period, particularly with where Melbourne are in the ladder. Bellyache doesn't need to overplay these sort of guys through that period, and they've got a ready-made bloke in the New Zealand international hooker, Brandon Smith, so I can see him getting a lot bigger minutes for that period. He's currently at 400k at the moment, break even 59, so there's no way I'd be going early, but from round 14 onwards, I think he's a massive target.
Mate, the 7:35 game, the Roosters taking on the Penrith Panthers. Nat Butcher, he's been named at 13. We'll talk about him when we get to our questions soon. A very interesting one. And Satili Tupanua, he has been named despite that shot that he wore from Dill Brown last week, so he's got to pass HIA protocols. Also worth noting that Roosters side, which he could become relevant over the next few weeks or at least be part of it. Egan Butcher for the first time named on the bench. Played some decent minutes in Reggie's last week, so one to keep an eye on. Sunday, we got 2 o'clock, the South Sydney Rabbitohs taking on the Globetrotters, the Canberra Raiders. They're back. Trent Peoples named in the second row. I'm sure we'll get to him as well. And then we've got Simon Wolford, who is still in the 9. No real shock there, but
Simon Wolford, the old veteran, made a comeback.
Simon Wolford, germ. Zach Wolford in the 9 there. Mate, 4 o'clock, the Gold Coast Titans and the Cronulla Sharks. Nico Hines back in the 7, thankfully. Miller in the 1. Wade Graham starts. Wilton on the bench. Fuck, I feel sorry for Wilton, don't you?
Mate, what more can a bloke do to keep a start? And, I mean, we've seen, not blaming Wade Graham, but he's come in and they haven't, they have new faces in there in Nico Hines, who's now so pivotal to their attack. They've got Wade Graham coming back in, who's also super pivotal and plays a key role in attack. And they had such a good thing going. And while it's only a small sample size, it's kind of like, well, they're gonna have to learn how to put a new combination together, aren't they? And it'll happen because they're quality footballers. But poor old Teague, he didn't do much wrong.
Mate, Nico Hines absolutely fucking dusted us last week if you captained him, which I did, I assume by your score.
Yep.
You did as well. Are we burnt? Are we going again?
Yeah, I'm tossing up between him and Nathan Cleary, mate. I think I'll be going Cleary just because I'm a little scarred from last weekend. But in saying that, it was still 50 points in a low-scoring round across the board. So it wasn't horrible. And he was playing, out of position for his new club. Yeah, as I said, tossing up Cleary v Hines, but Titans match up. It's pretty enticing, isn't it?
Mate, well and truly, especially up there on that track. Absolutely love it. Mate, our hot topic for this week, we're going to take a deep dive into round 13. It's going to be incredibly important this season. And, mate, I guess off the top, something that I didn't realise myself up until about 10 days ago, and something that a lot of keen SuperCoach players I've spoken to haven't realised, we do get a couple of extra trades during this bye period.
Yeah, like not given extra trades, but we get extra opportunities to make trades. So round 13 and round 17, those two major buy rounds where half the clubs are on the spell, we get 3 trades rather than the regular 2, and including a boost, if you've still got them there, 4 trades, which is pretty huge. So factor those into when you're looking at your round 13 and round 17 numbers that you should be having at least one extra bloke there. I
think it's really important because I especially look at the Roosters, and we'll talk about them soon. They've got 2 really tough matchups before round 13. So a guy like Joey Matto, I really don't want to bring him in before that. But in my mind, I was thinking, fuck, that's one of my 3 trades I have to use. All of a sudden, you got 4 if you've saved your boost, which, fuck, I hope you have. If you've used them all, you're in a bit of curry, aren't you?
Yeah. And that's it. We look at blokes, again, we'll speak about him shortly, but Ruben Cotter, who's a hot target this week, but is now in line for an Origin call-up, or every chance on the radar of Billy Slater there. He, with Melbourne, the Cowboys 2 games coming up, 2 really tough ones. I don't really want to go early on Cotter. So the fact we've got the 4 to use in round 13, I'm just going to be waiting for that.
Yeah. Mate, should we dive into round 13? We kick off. So obviously it's 2 weeks away, but you need to start preparing for this now. We've got the Gold Coast Titans playing the North Queensland Cowboys. Titans, I think I'm just putting the red Sharpie through them. I don't think I can target any of these guys. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's not much there, is there? One that, like Jaden Campbell's excellent on the weekend. I think he busted 13 tackles or something. So, quite a SuperCoach-friendly game. I just, you can't really trust the Titans on the form they've got at the moment. Even in that, like he absolutely blitzed that game, ran for about 270 metres. Still, what he scored, 71 points in that and looked outstanding.
He had 12 tackle breaks.
Yeah. So, David Fafita may be back by then. He'll more than likely be on Origin duty. So unless there was the off chance that he returned that week and they didn't want to play him fresh off an injury, AJ Brimson, a little bit of a smoky. We know he's gone on runs in the past in SuperCoach, but it looks a bit of a short-term fix. And I suppose probably the only other one that would come into a little bit of attention is Beau Fermor, who started the year really well, dual centre, second row, averaging 59 for the season, but he's very try-reliant. So in the 5 games, he hasn't scored a try this season, hasn't scored over 50 points.
Yep.
And you look at some players and go, well, they're playing good footy and why can't tries continue to come? Historically, it's just not going to happen. Give or take someone like maybe Billy Kickow, who's just an attacking weapon, but I'm putting a line through them entirely. If I owned Fermor, I'd hold on to him until that round, but not overly keen.
And mate, of course, they are playing the Cowboys there, who are one of the better defensive sides in this competition as it stands, so I can't go near them. For the Cowboys, you mentioned Ruben Cotter. Obviously, if you don't already have him, it's a wait until round 13 to see if he is picked in the Origin side. We've got a question about him soon, so we'll talk about him then. Drinkwater at fullback. I look at this side and I think that even if there is competition for that fullback spot over the next 2 weeks, which personally I think Drinky has got it anyway. Val Holmes is going to piss off to play Origin, so you'll see Hammer jump into the centre spot anyway. So Drinky, I like him in this one.
Yeah, you'd have to deliver some trash in the next couple of weeks for Hammer to play fullback. Games upcoming against Melbourne and Penrith. We're really going to get an idea, get a gauge of where the Cowboys are at in this competition and whether they're genuine title contenders. I'm still sceptical despite them not putting a foot wrong this season, but we're going to find out. Drinky, he's fine. Break even 100, 682k, so I would be shocked if he didn't drop money over the next couple of weeks, and he's a massive weight to round 13 for me. Anyone who went last week, what did he get? 46 points, so you're a little bit of concern with the way they're bringing on the hammer, and they took him off for I think 10 or 11 minutes there in the weekend. But mate, he's playing good footy, and one to massively target for 13.
It filled me with confidence when they took Hiku off and they moved Hammer into the centre jersey and Drinkwater back on, but I was nervous as all fuck before that. Taumalolo, if you've still got him, obviously didn't play a heap of minutes last week. Are we expecting Todd to just let him run the barn this weekend or what?
Yeah, mate. I reckon he'll play sort of onwards of 65, probably 70s, maybe a stretch, but 31 minutes on the weekend, which is well down on his season average, 55 so far for the season, but in the bigger games, he's been playing 60, even 65, so that was a clear indication that Payton was looking ahead to this Melbourne game and going, I need my best forward playing big minutes. He'll be rested for that, and, point scoring wise, nobody really scores well against the Melbourne Storm. Forwards in particular get shut out of games with that line speed, their wrestle, everything there. So I'm not necessarily expecting him to score that well, but minutes I do think will be up substantially, and anyone thinking about selling or benching or any of that sort of stuff, just play him because I think he should be a lock for a solid at least 50 points. A
lot of talk about Reece Robson. Obviously, hooker options looking pretty grim. Wolford, he's popped up, but I'm not sure if he's going to be a long-term guy for us, might be, but Reece Robson has been scoring pretty well. As long as the hammer is on the bench, Robson will play 80 minutes. His scores the last 3 weeks without Granville on the side have been pretty solid.
Yeah, well, he's played 80 minutes 4 times in the last 5 rounds, 3 80-minute games in a row, 3-round average of 68. Basing 45 for the season in 80-minute games. So in these last 3 games of 80 minutes, his base has been 55, 61, 51, which is exceptional. He's also a bloke with a little bit of attacking upside as well. He's got a good scoot on him. He can burrow over for a try here and there. I really like him. I don't have his ownership in front of me, but it wouldn't be much. And with everyone looking to move on, Chris Randall, Robson's a massive play, particularly if... Cotter you can get at second row as well, but a lot of people are thinking probably Randall to Cotter. But if Cotter does get picked for Origin and you want to stray elsewhere, mate, he's a massive play.
Yep, I like it. Friday night, the Panthers and the Canterbury Bulldogs in round 13. Panthers, they'll be missing all their Origin boys. Are you looking at anyone here?
The one who I don't feel right about because I've never really wrapped him as a SuperCoach prospect, but... it's Viliami Kikau, and just the numbers he's putting up, mate.
He's getting more consistent, isn't he?
He's getting more consistent because he's just getting better and better as a footballer. So he's very attack reliant. I mentioned Bo Firma before, relies on tries a little bit as a back rower compared to the elite back rowers in the game. Kikau's base, again to reiterate for anyone who's sort of missed it, base is your work rate, basically, your tackles, your runs, and then your minus missed tackles. So the stuff you can sort of bank on if no attacking stats come, which you need to do with your forwards in particular, 32 per game. So in context, your Angus Crichtons, your Ryan Madisons in big minute roles might base anywhere from 50 to 60. That's a lot. Yep. But Kikau's attack is so good that he's just getting these attacking stats week in, week out. And the other big thing is he's playing massive minutes, mate. Like, he's playing anywhere from sort of 75 to 80 the last 5-6 weeks. So with those extra minutes on ground, he's not necessarily getting through more work, but he's getting more attacking opportunities with ball in hand. 600K, you're paying top dollar for him, but to have an elite player like him in a weak second row forward position this year, I just think he's super hard to ignore. Ryan Madison, who we'll get to a little later, the fact that he's been named to start now throws a bit of a spanner in the works. So I'm thinking, do I go to Matto instead? But Kikau's hot on my radar.
Yeah, no, he has to be right up there. They're playing the Canterbury Bulldogs, as you said. Kikau needs some attacking stats. Not a bad side to play if you're looking for some attacking stats. For Canterbury, though, we've obviously, well, most of us have still got Maxi King. I'll be holding him until that game. Tavita Pangai Jr. Now, we've said for the last few weeks, wait until round 13 if you're going to buy TPJ because you never know what the fuck he's going to do. And good God, didn't he disappoint last week? TPJ'd the best out of us.
He's just... I don't think there's been a player who's failed to deliver on SuperCoach expectations more than TPJ Plus. One of them blokes who every time you bring him in, and there's been many times over the years, he just finds a way to become SuperCoach irrelevant. Granted, a lot of that time it's through injury or suspension or something like that, but just always... And look, he's been pretty solid this season, averaging 58, but we've mentioned for a few weeks in a row now, he's not hurting you with 80, 90, 100 plus scores by not owning him. So to negate that risk of injury and suspension between now and round 13, just wait on him. even then, mate, to be honest, I know he's dual second row, front row, but I'm not that crash hot on him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing that much to warrant or justify being bought. Again, 2 weeks to see what he can do, and then we'll consider then. He comes in against a Penrith side who will be weakened, but it's still going to be a pretty strong side who negate forwards big time in SuperCoach, so we'll see.
I would just say this about Canterbury too. If you are looking at any of these guys, you need to watch them very closely over the next 2 weeks with a new coach walking in there. Anything could happen with their rotations.
And, mate, you look at someone like Max King, who he's cementing his spot on the bench, but new coach coming in, what's to say that he won't get a starting role and play bigger minutes? Lots of people are selling this week. He has peaked in price for the time being. Probably not going to go up too much at all, but he's an extra number for round 13. He should punch out anywhere between 40 and 50 in that round. Just hold him, and he can be the first bloke you sell come round 14.
Mate, Saturday night, the Manly Seagulls take on the New Zealand Warriors from Brookvale Oval. Obviously, Manly will be missing a fair whack of troops, Turbo, Ches, etc., potentially Olakau'atu. Ruben Garrick has to be the one we're looking at here, doesn't he?
Yeah, Rubes. I think Rubes will be in for me. Another one that I'll just be waiting till round 13. He's got that low score in his 3-round average now, so he's going to drop a fair bit in price. Tommy Trbojevic is so key to him as well, and his form and fitness, obviously. So, Tommy's obviously struggling a little bit at the moment. Hopefully give it 2 or 3 weeks. He gets back to form. Not that he'll be there in round 13, but Rubes will play fullback that week with Tommy out, where he traditionally scores pretty well, albeit with a smaller ceiling without Tommy Turbo. But, mate, he put together one of the great SuperCoach seasons last year, and if we can get him at anywhere from 550 to 60k for round 13, lock him in.
What about Joshy Schuster? I mean, if he starts to get close to that 80-minute role over the next 2 or 3 weeks, do we look at him?
Yeah, massive target. He's a guy that he's been solid in SuperCoach the last couple of years, albeit I should say last year. He played 18 games last year, played 1 game in 2021, but averaged 61 points last year, it's not second row keeper, but he's just such a talented footballer. The fact that we'll hopefully get him fewer minutes this week. We can get him at a cheaper price. Definitely a target. But again, it's a massive watch for a couple of weeks, isn't it? See how he comes back fitness-wise, see what he's putting together, and then we can consider round 13.
If the Warriors' edge defence comes out against Manly as it did last week, though, Schuster could score a fucking 1,000 there. For the Warriors, I've obviously got my boy Reece Walsh. I like him heading into this matchup and the next 2 weeks.
Not a bad call. A bit
I'm happy with
last
it.
week, but 73 odd?
76, but that's okay. I was happy with it. Mate, I actually got so high on my own fucking farts this week that I even looked at Marcelo Montoya yesterday and then went, nah, just settle down. Just take your little W with Reece Walsh. Move the fuck on. Tohu Harris, though, he could be an interesting one. It's still 2 weeks away. By that point, hopefully he can push towards that 80-minute sort of mark.
Yeah, he'll get there. And because he's such an important cog in that Warriors outfit and they're going so ordinarily over the last month, they'll try and get him back to big minutes as quick as they can. He's been a SuperCoach gun for so many years now. One of the few players to leave Melbourne and arguably become a better footballer and a better SuperCoach player. Like, you don't leave Melbourne and become score better at SuperCoach. Tohu Harris has been mental. And his first game back, really encouraging. So, always been a bit of a PPM beast. 30 minutes, scored 37 points in that time. This is first came back from a very lengthy injury. 29 in base stats. So if we can get a little price drop as well, which we will, before round 13, he's 600k now. Might be able to pick him up for about 550k. And he's a season-long keeper. He's a gun in a round where there are very few playing. So, again, we'll monitor him over the next 2 or 3 weeks, but massive target.
4 o'clock, Sunday, round 13, the Canberra Raiders take on the Sydney Roosters. I'm going to leave the Raiders for now because a lot of them pop up in our questions later, unless there's anyone outside of Wolford that you want to sort of touch on.
The only one would be, and a bloke who's probably snuck under the radar a little bit, is Joey Tapani.
Yeah.
Only because we knew how good a footballer he was. We were just concerned about what Ricky was going to do with his Raiders this year, and particularly his forward pack. They've got so much depth in the back row and the front row, for that matter. We didn't know if Taps was going to be playing games off the bench, fewer minutes, what's happening. Now, his minutes haven't been anything outstanding. 48 up on 41 last year, but he's averaging 57 per game. Dual front row, second row. He's a guy I can see. He's so pivotal to this Raiders outfit, along with Joshi Papali, that I can see his minutes increasing. Like, we've seen him play 80 minutes as a middle in the past. He's capable of it. He's got the fitness there. So a real sneaky one with serious attacking upside as well. Like, he's a weapon near the lines, can score and can set him up. So, again, front row forwards, not terrific this year. It's been pretty ordinary for a couple of years now. So one that I don't mind sneaking in there. But, again, games upcoming against the Bunnies and then the Eels. Not one we have to go early on, but I think he's a target for 13.
Yeah, well, assuming that Josh Papali is going to be playing Origin, I think that's going to be close to him. Like, the Raiders will look at that and go, this is a must-win game against the Chooks without Teddy and the crew.
That's it. And the other one there is you've got, like, if Zachy Wolford does keep his spot in that side, they've got him and Tommy Starling in the hooking rotation. They're two players who aren't really going to spend too much time. I mean, they are middle forwards. They're playing as hookers, but in that front row, back row rotation. So Adam Elliott, who was sharing that role with Tommy Starling, there might be more minutes to give there.
Mate, the Roosters, they're the last team in round 13 we'll have a look at. They take on the Panthers this week, the Cronulla Sharks the week after, so two pretty tough gigs leading into round 13. So anyone I'm buying from the Roosters, maybe outside of Nat Butcher, I'll be buying that week. Outside backs, we've got Daniel Tupu, we've got Joey Manu, we've got Sawali. If you don't have him, I would assume most do at this point. Manu's the one that I'm probably looking at, but I really don't want to get him in the next 2 weeks. Who are you eyeing off at the Chookies?
They're a funny one, the Roosters, because you'd be sitting there going, gun team, albeit out of form by their standards. You'd be playing that first major buy round, lock in as many as you can, basically. But another team we've spoken about with that Penrith game, Cronulla, they'll be semi-depleted in round 13 for the Raiders, albeit nice matchup. Then they come back against Melbourne, Parramatta, Penrith into a bye. So they've basically got one good week in the next 6-7 weeks, and that is the bye against the Raiders without a lot of players on deck. So, mate, I'm tending to probably steer clear of all of them. Even Joey Manu, while I like him, he should probably play fullback that week. I just think I don't even want to play my outside backs, Suwali included, in those games outside of round 13 because of how hard the draw is. So, mate, outside of maybe Nat Butcher, who gets an opportunity now with Victor Radley gone for 6 to 8, he's very cheap, and we can have a look at him this week, look at his role in that back row, how many minutes he gets, but I'm not real keen on any of them.
Mate, it could be even scarier if, touch wood, the Canberra Raiders have actually turned a fucking corner. And they're the side they should be all of a sudden for that game. Could be tough. Let's dive into some of the questions sent in by listeners. The first one comes from @NRL Deadly. Who goes first, Talakai or Stags? If you're going to sell one, personally, I've got both of them and I'm going to hold both of them. I just think there's too much upside in both of them. I know people are getting impatient with Talakai, but I'm telling you, the moment you sell him, he's going to come out and fist whoever he plays and score 130. I'm so confident of it.
He's the second most traded player this week.
Fuck.
I have not considered it for a second. Like, he's getting dual second row centre status next week, which makes him even more important, particularly when you think people have got guys like Bo Firma, or nearly all of us have Isaac Tago, except for any of those poor souls that sold him last week. You just hold on to him. God, like, I think he'll probably be arguably the top scoring CT dub by season's end, or top 3 thereabouts. How terrified would you be not owning him? He's been a whisker of scoring tries the last 3 weeks. Tony Staggs shut him down beautifully 2 or 3 weeks ago. They were hindered a little bit last week. Nico to fullback and a few key outs. They played with 11 blokes against the Warriors for a period there. Mate, he'll come good, and anyone who sells is going to regret it big time.
Round 21 onwards, Dragons, Tigers, Manly, Canterbury, Newcastle. You're not going to have that many trades left by that point. You're going to have to bring this fucker back in, or he's going to absolutely murder you in the back end. Just keep him.
Yeah, and like we're 10 rounds through the season now. There's been a lot of good cheapies pop up, so our squad values are pretty decent. We don't need to go for every cheapie that comes on the market. We don't need to sell every gun who's falling in price. We've got enough money to play around with it. We can hold on to these guys and dodge a few Burbos or Tasses or these sort of players. So just hold on to Talakai, and I'm very confident you won't regret it.
Yeah. And if you want some more advice, go and ask anyone that sold fucking Targo last week how they're feeling about that move.
Yeah, that's it. We copped a bit of grief for saying you needed to bench Targo last week, but we also said you're a lunatic if you sell him. So take some solace in the fact that you still own him for his ton, and you'll have a gun player in a gun team for round 13.
And mate, Katoni Staggs, Brisbane, 4 on the trot. They're looking good. Their right side's their strong side. He hasn't been getting as much ball the last few weeks, but I feel like he's in the exact same boat. He's base statting well. He's scoring you 35 odd a week when he's not really getting much ball. when he does get ball, we know what Katoni can do.
That's it, mate. And you alluded to base stats there, and he's a guy, he's probably not had terrific base in the past, but he's been pretty good this season. Outside of the game against, I think it was the Bunnies 2 weeks back, he's had 29 in base in 6 of his past 7 games, which is very solid for a bloke with the attacking upside that we know he's got. He's managed to dodge the attacking stats pretty well the last few weeks, but look, I can see why people may want to sell him at 516k, break-even 117, but again, a guy, he also offers round 17 coverage. So yes, we're looking at round 13 and focusing on that, but anyone from round 13 you have also isn't going to play round 17. So that's just as important. If you're selling one of these premium CT dubs, and a lot of us own him, it's Xavier Coates for me.
Yep.
Melbourne have a brutal run. He'll be unavailable over Origin. Stars can go low with 30 points. Xavier Coates scored 8 on the weekend, and he's about to drop a shit ton of cash. So, mate, it'll be Coates out for me, for anyone who owns him. In fact, he is leaving my side this week, and Stags, there's a case to sell him. Definitely don't sell Talakai, but I'm holding both Stags and Talakai.
All right, some rapid-fire ones here. This one comes from Zach Clogan. Thoughts on Nat Butcher? You sort of already alluded to this one. You're not overly keen?
Mate, we don't do rapid-fire here, all in depth. Nat Butcher, I'm just going to watch him this week. I actually am keen on him for next week, but if he comes out and plays lock, if they go for big boys like Maria Hargreaves, Takiaho in the middle, who they will be, they might play Takiaho in the middle for a bit for 20 or 30 minutes there, depending on how they want to operate. But I just don't want to get Butcher this week, see him come out and play 40 minutes and go, well, that's a waste of a trade. In fact, it's a waste of 2 trades because you've got to then get rid of him after round 13. But if he comes in and plays a 65-minute role at lock, which there's every chance he does in the absence of Radley, mate, I think at 369k, he'll be a really good buy. And he's got a pretty good run at that 13 jersey with Radley out.
Yeah. Next one comes from Brad Lenton. Is Barnett worth a look or hold off? And I'm going to pair that into the next question from Sleepy Dreams. Is David Clemmer worth getting? For me, I think Mitch Barnett's going to be a bit of a cock block for David Clemmer over the next few weeks. I was very keen on Clems, but I'm very nervous now.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Clemmer's been awesome this year and one that's gone really under the radar. Super consistent. Lacks sort of the ceiling of the, probably in my opinion, the premium front row options in your Payne Hasses. You obviously Isaiah Papali'i, who's leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of them. But you mentioned Mitch Barnett coming back there, named to play at lock this week. They've got back rollers back in Frizzell, Fitzgibbon's back, Kurt Mann's back in the next, any day now, probably next week. They all come into middle rotation, and it doesn't bode well for Clem's minutes, who's had to play huge game time in the absence of all these blokes. Mitchy Barnett, I think, is an interesting one because he's been a really good Supercoach scorer in the past. 458k is very cheap. The Knights don't play round 13, so I want to see his minutes when Kurt Mann comes back, because there's every chance that Mann comes back, starts at lock, and Barnett plays off the bench in a 50-minute role. We've seen him play less, which I think is madness because he's a weapon, but just wait till round 14 for either of those blokes.
Next one comes from Steve Hebner, 69. Thoughts on Wolford? Randall, got to move him on soon. What are your thoughts on Wolford?
Wolford, absolutely do not go early on him. I mean, we've seen Ricky's preference with the Raiders and with his hooking rotation to... We saw it with Hodjo last year. We've seen it with Adam Elliott this year, Matt Frawley there for a little bit. These blokes who deputised at hooker and played a 20-minute role to start the game, then Starlo would come on and play 60 straight. Now, it's a little bit different with Wolford because, A, he was very good on debut, but he's a specialist hooker. So maybe he can stretch that on a little bit. I think he played 25 even in the first 30 minutes of that game and then came back on late. But, look... It was his debut. He was good. He scored well, but he had a lot of attacking stats. He could easily be a 25-minute hooking role for the Raiders, in which case he'd be a massive trap, make you 50k and get you 30 points in round 13. Could be a terrific buy next week, but just don't go early on him.
Mate, a question sent in by just about everyone. Ryan Madison, what are you thinking this week? As we said, scored tries and whatnot. Do you bring him in, or he's obviously not playing round 13, but... They are sort of keeper numbers at the moment, aren't they?
I got a bit of a chip on my shoulder with Matto because I started the year with the mongrel and he bloody did his hammy in round 1. Thought he had this great pot. He was about 8% ownership to start the season, and he hasn't played more than 56 minutes since round 5. So when he was been coming off the bench, I was happy to dodge him at 660k. But now he's been named to start, which is huge. because they've dropped Nathan Brown to the bench. Like, he looks pretty bloody good, doesn't he? His base is unreal. We've seen what he can do in attack. His PPM, like his base will be up playing in the middle in big minutes. How many minutes do you think he's going to get? Do you think he goes into a 65-plus minute role, or do you think his minutes stay the same with Brown just coming on at, say, the 30-minute mark?
I think he could head into the 65, 70 sort of realm.
Which makes him close to a must-have. Again, in a pretty weak back row position. Break even at 14, so he is going to make cash, but it won't be anything substantial. So I'm going to wait a week. I think I'm going to wait a week. I could change my tune by tomorrow night. Wait a week. See what his minutes are, and then maybe get him next week if he plays 65.
I keep looking at Matto and thinking, I'll wait. Then I keep looking at the scores and I keep going, fuck, I don't know if I can wait.
All of a sudden,
it's got a bit of a Papali'i sort of feel to him.
Yeah.
It's just like, just get him in, just make it work. I don't think I will, though. But I'm the same as you. I could get to Thursday night and be fucking panic stations. Now, mate, I didn't go through the group at the start of the show, so I'll go through that quickly. In first place in our group, remember, $2,000 up for grabs here for the overall winner. Team Hoppo, Luke, he's coming first in our group. He's 6th overall in SuperCoach. The Dark Knights, Glenn, holding on for another week, 7th overall in SuperCoach, 2nd in our group. The Bearded Clams, Alex, 13th overall in SuperCoach, 3rd in our group. Lachlan, his name is Bellamy Bez. He is 19th overall in SuperCoach, 4th in our group. And Oprah Tinfreeze holds on for another week. Dane there, 5th in our group, 29th overall. 5 guys in the top 30, Timmy. We're doing something right.
Good going, mate. Good to see Oprah Tinfreeze sticking strong there, showing some consistency.
And I think we're looking at 15 in the top 100. It's actually 15 in the top 85. So plenty of movement there in beers and break-evens, doing good things. Mate, is there anyone else you want to touch on?
Mate, I think you've covered all the big ones for me.
Yeah. What are you thinking captain-wise this week before we go? Obviously, we spoke about Nicho Hynes on Sunday Arvo against the Gold Coast Titans.
I'm leaning towards Nathan Cleary. I think last year Penrith put plenty on the Roosters. They haven't done much to convince me, despite a good win over Para, that they're back this year or any of that. So Penrith might be a bit down after a huge win on the weekend, but I still like Nathan Cleary. I think there's a bit of rain forecast for Sydney over the weekend. If there's rain there, I'll definitely go with Cleary. If it is a dry afternoon, that Sunday Arvo, Nicho Hynes, well, he's up on the Gold Coast, so he should get a dry one either way. But, mate, I think Nathan Cleary.
I'm going Nicho.
Let's go.
I'm lining up for more pain. Guys, thanks for joining us once again on Beers and Break-Evens. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff for us. Brought to you once again by Bloke in a Bar. Remember, the week of State of Origin Monday night, major announcement coming there that you're not going to want to miss. So stay tuned for that one. Make sure you subscribe to the SuperCoach Playbook, podcast, Facebook, Instagram, all of the above.
All the good stuff, mate.
All the good stuff.
If you're real keen.
Fucking Twitter. What a cesspit. Good God. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.